Hi students, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to another exciting session of healthcare entrepreneurship. We are going to pick it up from where we left last time, so let's get started. Affiliate marketing and referrals, these are some other techniques like which I've majority of them I've explained. So these are some customer acquisition strategies to make sure you provide discounts, referral based priorities and things like that, right? Then there is organic customer acquisition strategies. One is content marketing. You want to focus on producing the right content. Maybe whenever you have a website, you are putting just the relevant content, nothing other than that, and you are marketing it in a very right sense. And the next type is like you are writing blogs, web pages like LinkedIn posts and things like that. And sometimes you want to place your content in certain flyers or like part of certain social media platforms and things like that. Search engine optimization is another word we would hear a lot, specifically if you're working in the startup domain. SEO. SEO, what it really means is whether your website or your write up in the web in the basically internet really stands out in Google or some kind of a web search engine, right? So if I've created my startup and I want my startup name, so in the very top when medical implants are searched, if my startup is in that domain, right? Not probably in medical implants, if it is on very specific implants, let's say some type of dental implant, whenever somebody searches that dental implant, I want my startup to at least come in the third or second of the Google search. That is known as search engine optimization. This is typically done through a lot of data analytics techniques, and this is based on the number of visits sometimes, how widely your website is kind of marketed and things like that. So a lot of these marketing agencies would know how to optimize your search engine, like in the way that whenever certain keywords are typed, your company or your product will look up, right? So let's say, for example, many of you may not be like in the social media or may not see your names or be very popular in the Google, but if you look up let's say names of certain professors, right, just look up their names. Few of them you will never find too much of information, and few of them who are very senior professors or senior people or senior surgeons, you look up their name, you will see pictures of their books, their publications, their pictures in certain conferences, maybe a Wikipedia page. So that's where they are very popular. Everybody would like to be associated with them rather than people who are not searchable, right? If you're looking for doctors, you want them to be searchable, not to look at very shabby certain websites or shabby kind of pictures where it looks very sketchy. These kind of things you do not want, right? In Google, when you're looking at certain companies, you do not want a picture of something very unwanted. So a lot of these things come as a part of search engine optimization, right? Next is email marketing. Many of the times you would want to send bulk emails, or like through survey emails, or as a part of several emails or follow-ups to the companies you have just contacted with in terms of possibility of acquisition. They may see your email and be intrigued. Like, so if I get an email from some let's say publication house like Wiley or something else about being part of a journal, I would be interested. So that's my area of interest, right? So if a doctor gets an email about some important conference in their domain and they are asking them to serve as a chair, they would come. If I get an email as a elderly person of glucometers, which I really need, some very enhanced glucometers, I would want to see, right, or read more about it. So many of this AI based techniques, like in the internet is making the rounds. So they're trying to optimize based on how you search, right? Many of us know this, right? Like if you're trying to search the cost of certain, flights, all of a sudden the flight cost goes up. That's some SEO or AI based optimization. Then we go to the incognito or something other mode, some other device, and it comes back to where it was, right? Similar with a lot of different products, right? So social media marketing is the last one, which is very important. We want to be present in Instagram, we want to be present in Facebook, We want to have some association in LinkedIn and other key areas like Twitter. There are Pinterest and things like that, and there are subgroups within these systems like pages, groups, and maybe in YouTube as well, right, where we want to talk more and more about our products, so that more of our exposure to the product or the particular service is given to the outside market, right, where the customers can actually look for it. So I'll give you a typical example. Whenever we try to start up a company or a new product, what all of us entrepreneurs would typically do, once we have built the product, we would want to look out for all the marketing techniques. But whenever we do online marketing, we would want to at least have a Facebook page, at least have a LinkedIn page, and maybe in these days at least have an Instagram page. This is the bare minimal what we want to do, and then we want to connect with several groups and followers and influencers and things like that, like, and at least do SEO. So these are some basic tactics which all of us do to get an organic customer acquisition, right? So if I do not have a website for something and nobody knows about me, I do not have a presence in the social media, right? So these things are very, very important for organic marketing. Organic is something where you are not forcing it or using very, very key tactics like discounts and all, but people are automatically seeing it and coming, right? You are not running paid ads like anything, right? You are just posting something in the social media and people are getting to know who you are or what your products are. How to calculate customer acquisition cost? So typically we would want to choose a period of time that you want to use as your baseline. A month is a standard period of time for some businesses for the customer acquisition. So first of all, for the customer acquisition, you want to understand what is my timeline in which I want to get a certain set of customers, or my target is, let's say, to get 200 or 100 customers, whatever. Divide the total amount of money you spend on customer acquisition campaigns during this period by the number of customers acquired. So let's say in the first month my target is 100 customers and I have paid or I have spent, let's say, 50,000 rupees, right? So how many zeros are there in 50,000? We are looking at 4 zeros divided by 100. So we are looking at 500 rupee per customer, right? So total amount of money you spend divided by the number of customers. The number will tell you the average cost to acquire a single customer. So I am spending 500 rupees to acquire a single customer. If the cost of my product is, let's say, 600 rupees, is this a good enough cost? What do you think? Answer to that is no, right? Only if my device is costing, or whatever, if I am trying to sell a service, if I am going to make, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000 rupees out of this particular customer, then it makes sense to spend 500 rupees. But I would not want to spend 500 rupees if the cost of my product or service is just 600 or 1000 rupees. That's not a huge margin to work with, right? So that is the customer acquisition cost, the cost I would spend as a total to have one customer, one lead convert to a customer or something like that, right? So that is a cost I have to factor in mind, whether that is really worth the effort and time. Otherwise, I would go for some other techniques of marketing, right? I would not spend so much of time and cost into customer acquisition. So these are some factors which will make your budgeting very, very helpful, like when you are looking at the sales and marketing cycle once your product is completely ready. So during the customer acquisition, there is another term which comes into mind, which is known as customer optimization. So what are these? Let's read about the customer acquisition first, then we'll go to the customer optimization. So acquisition is activities that drive relevant traffic to your online properties, right? So basically you have certain online presence, you have social media marketing, let's say through Twitter, email, advertising, mobile marketing, search engine optimization, and basically you are trying to go from customer acquisition towards optimization, where activities that improve the user experience and turn more visitors into customers, right? You want to have something automatic in the future where customers, of course, you have to create some brand value initially so that customers are aware of things, but later on you should not have to do so much of marketing and keep on emailing people and keep on posting things on social media, it should happen automatically after a certain time. That is known as customer optimization. So, initial part is acquisition, then you want to finally convert it into optimization, that now you have optimized your marketing efforts, that based on your marketing techniques, and now you know these are the main channels which is letting me get more and more customers. So, I will give you an example where so there is this particular online course, and if we feel like we can go through the social media route, the newspaper route, or there are 4 other channels through word of mouth route, through reaching out to coaching institutes where, or end customers of certain kind of education specific groups, like where we can have people take this online course, right, let us say on healthcare. The next part is, we want to make sure, based on this initial understanding of the acquisition, we understand that only people who are in a certain social media platform, let us say LinkedIn, in a particular set of groups, that is creating the maximum buzz or maximum customer conversion. So, what I do, I get rid of all my other marketing techniques and just focus on LinkedIn. Or let us say I find out through the newspaper article, I am getting a lot of customers. So, I focus on newspaper article, right. So, that is how you optimize the customer acquisition part eventually, where your sales and marketing will go into an auto mode. Okay. This is typically done through a better usability and user centric design, where users can come to a website or come to a product and automatically understand that this is something of value and I want to take it, and I feel like there are some reviews to back it up. Now I am happy that I should probably take the dig, right. So, this has a lot of performance parameters, the A/B testing, analytics, customer satisfaction, these are some aspects which will help you optimize your customers. The conversion rate is the ratio of achievements of a desired goal, like purchase or sign up, to the number of applicable visits to the website. So, if you are getting 10,000 visits on a website and only 2 people are buying your product, then you have something really wrong going on with your website. Think about so much cost and money and efforts you have put on your website and your product, and only 2 customers are buying it. You need to change your website then. Work with a marketing agency or work with some take inputs from necessary stakeholders and do the right thing, right. So, optimizing your customer acquisition is customer acquisition happens at the very beginning of a product cycle, when it is about to get commercialized, and then eventually you need to optimize it to organically grow. Next is customer retention. So, customer retention strategies are typically to grow the sales. The first step of it is create customer communities around your brand. So, we have talked about how to create your brand, like once you have developed your product and you are able to showcase, create that awareness where customers are knowing, they are making certain purchase decisions. Once certain set of people have purchased your products, you want to create a customer community. You want to get some feedbacks, you want to get some testimonials. This is what people believe in this era, right. If you are working on a clinic, people want to hear what the feedbacks are about you as a doctor, because they do not know you. If you have made this new product which you are selling to 5 clinicians, the 6th clinician would want to know about what are the feedbacks from these 5 clinicians. Do you have any testimonials to support that, right. So, create these communities. This is not only a part of testimonials and feedbacks, but these people can get you connected to wider range of people through word of mouth, right. Second is leverage analytics to monitor customer journeys. You can use data analytics and several statistical techniques to look at how majority of your customers statistically are behaving. Let us say you have 1000 customers taking your product. Let us say just a 5% of them are trying to return the product or have some grievances, then you know your product is really doing well. You can address that by saying that only 5% of our customers have ever come back with some kind of negative feedback. You can advertise that, things like that. So, leverage on analytics and data techniques, data analysis techniques to understand how your customers are behaving, how your customer communities are behaving. Is a set of customers, let us say 10% customers, leading to further customers? They may be a clear target group within your community, right? Third is measure customer lifetime value. You want to make sure that your customers are able to place a very clear value into the overall product. They are not able to only vouch for the product, they are trying to buy more and more such products for their friends and family. They have repeated purchases. So, let us say 30% of your customers had repeated purchases, so they have a lifetime value for your product, right? Fourth is improve customer experience across all channels, all the distribution channels, all the channels which you are trying to cater towards, all are your customers. If you are the main entrepreneur or the producer, your wholesalers are your customers, even though they are intermediaries. The retailers are your customers, the end users are your customers. So, make sure you have a satisfying or nice experience with all of them. Sometimes it is just how you talk, sometimes how you deal with things, how transparent you are, how supportive you are. Customers would want to not only hear the term warranty, they these days want to hear that whether you will be there when they actually need you. If something breaks down, some button breaks down or something is not working fine, will you be there to support them? And you will not believe this, majority of the companies have very poor customer experience. Typically people would not worry about the very big brands because they will do they will move the mountains to make sure the customers are really doing well, but majority of the startups or middle tier companies are into very poor after sales services, and I think we can all relate to this. Once the sale has been done or the purchase has been made, either the company vanishes or something is going wrong, they won't pick up your call, you raise a complaint that never gets solved, there is no support mechanism even though everything was there, warranty and everything was promised, right? So, this is, if we keep on doing that kind of an activity, or we are not able to retain the customers, then we will be able to do the customer acquisition initially by hook or crook, but we will not be able to retain the customers. So, in order to retain the customers, we want to make sure that we really deliver something valuable to them and they are satisfied with it. So, the customer satisfaction is of utmost importance, which is going to let you grow your sales. So, in order to retain your customers, we have to focus on acquiring only high value customers who are really placing a high value to the high value does not mean who are paying a lot for your product. No, high value is who are actually valuing your product. So, my product may be built for generic customers, but I may see certain group of elderly people are really excited about our product, they are our high value customers, right? We have to retarget one time buyers at the right time to encourage a second sale. This is how we get for retention, right? We have to make sure that this one time buyers the first time buyers are possibly going to buy this again, right, with their satisfaction, of course, otherwise they will buy something else. Third is send surveys to learn more about customers for improved personalization. Can something be personalized more towards them which they like, or which is an added extra mile to what we are doing currently? Send surveys, get some feedback, right? 4 is track customer retention metrics and early indicators of churn, right? You want to look at how many of this initial 1000 customers who purchased our products in the first 6 months have been able to come back. If it is 2%, 3%, then you are not very good with customer retention. If it is, let us say 60% have come back to buy another thing like, or a part or some part of the product like in our company, then we know that we are doing the customer retention right. So, I have told you quite a few tactics and strategies how to make sure that thing is retained, right? Fifth is improve customer loyalty and retention with softwares like customer data platform. These are some data analytics techniques and things like that, right?